So today I'm going to show a trade setup that I'm currently running right now on USD CAD. It's the 28th of August 2025, and for me this is an A plus setup, and I'm going to explain briefly why this is an A plus setup for me. So on the higher time frames we have this weekly fair value gap. Okay, we swept this high here, which was previously tagged into the weekly fair value gap. Price then sort of lingered around, wasn't obviously ready to continue lower. Price then takes this high out, closes way back below this weekly fair value gap, which is our first instigation that we're going lower. Okay, as you can see, this is the weekly candle zoomed in a little bit. Price closes below the high, okay, or near enough below the high on the range. So for me, coming into this week on Monday the 25th of August, all I'm doing is looking for sells, okay? I'm not coming in with any other sort of ambition to go high first and try and catch trade on Monday. That's not for me. All I wanted to do was catch a trade to the downside and ride the distribution part of the power of three, which is what I'm going to explain now on the daily, okay? So if you just bear in mind that this is the weekly candle, and you can see we had an open, obviously, we've rid up to this high here, and now we're distributing to the downside, aiming for our first part of our liquidity target, and then our next liquidity target, and then so on and so forth, okay? So if we drop down to the daily chart, you can see my little depiction here of what the power of three looks like for me, okay? So this is Monday, and you can see price opens, which I've shown here, opens, we go higher up, and then on Tuesday, we go even higher, okay? And now why do we do that? If we just go onto here and open this, you can see that we have a daily fair value gap that was created off of the high of Monday and the low of Thursday, okay? So we have a daily fair value gap. Now, Tuesday, we're expecting price to tag into this fair value gap, which it did, and it closed below, okay? So now we've got an open, high, and now going into Wednesday, Thursday, and potentially the start of Friday London session, we would be looking for sells, okay? Depending on what liquidity has been taken out. We're currently in the end of New York AM on Thursday, the 28th of August. So we've been riding this trade since New York AM, which you'll see when I drop down. But why we got into this trade, I'm going to explain now. So Tuesday, we tag into this daily fair value gap. Wednesday, we print price lower, okay? This is now confirmed. As you can see, we're at this part of the power of three. So we've had the open, the high, which is the wick on the weekly. We've distributed lower. We've confirmed we've distributed lower off this Wednesday candle, which happens to be this part of the distribution. So coming in here, I'm expecting price to continue lower to take out the liquidity target, okay? There's no reason for me to see price come back up. We haven't taken out any levels yet. So coming into today, I was just looking for shorts, okay? If we drop down further to the 4 hour, okay, and this is where I'm going to show why I got into the trade when I did, okay? So 4 hour chart, we can see, obviously, this is over here. We have Monday, we have the high put in, we sweep this level. Now, I took a trade here, and I ended up getting stopped out for break even as I aggressively trailed my stops and then got taken out off this move here. But looking into it, we got Wednesday creates a new powerful downward move to the bias, in line with our bias to the sell side. And then obviously you see price slows down through the Asia session. And then here at 1 a.m. London session time, based on a new 4 hour candle, we see our first potential area to trade, okay? Now, I didn't take anything in the London session just purely because I wasn't on the charts. So I'm going to sort of skip that. I can go over it when I'm on the 1 hour, but I'm going to base it on what I've actually taken, okay? So we have London session. I don't trade this gap in between London and New York. And then here at 9 a.m., we have the New York session 4 hour candle cycle, okay? And this is what I'm trying to trade. I'm trying to trade this New York AM 4 hour candle and this London session 4 hour candle, okay? So as you can see, this is the high, the previous 4 hour high, okay? So if I just pull that out, you can see we have the previous 4 hour high. Oh, that's not what I meant to pull out. So we have this previous 4 hour high, and we have this previous 4 hour low, okay? This is our candle range, okay? Candle range theory, whatever you want to call it. So for me, once we swept up here, we're using the power of three once again, okay? So we've made an open, a high, okay? So if we drop down now, we can see, and let me just leave that high on to show you. So we drop down to the 1 hour, And again, here is our 4-hour high, okay? So if we put 4-hour high, hopefully it will start to make more sense why I entered this trade, okay? So we came into the session, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. This is our first candle of that 4-hour cycle that I was mentioning before, okay? We're trading this 4-hour candle, which is currently printing. It has 22 minutes left. We have traded from the top to the bottom, okay? We're trading it exactly that. We're using the power of 3, and this is exactly why we're doing it, okay? So 9 a.m., we open up down here, okay? We can see if I pull this out, let me just pull that there. Okay, so you can see, open up at 9 a.m. here, let's pull that there. We then go higher, let's pull that like that. 9 a.m. we open up, we go higher, which creates an open high again on the 4-hour, which is in sync with the weekly 4-hour, and then 15-minute or 5-minute for an entry. We create a high, we close way back below in the range, okay? Look at this candle, okay? We go higher, we close way below the wick, okay, which is back in the range. We also have an FVG here and a slight FVG here on the 1-hour, which is more than capable of pushing price lower. Based on my higher time frame bias, I wasn't even too bothered about that. Just the fact that we closed back within the range was even more confidence for me to then expect price to do what it's been doing. Okay, so we've had an open, we go higher, we're now printing lower, okay? So what I'm expecting to see is price come down to this level and then most likely finish up and close around here for the day. So at this level here, I'll probably take some partials off, just close some profit in, and then probably let the trade run based on the weekly drawn liquidity being way below where we are. So based on the power of 3, we had an open at 9, gone higher, closed back within the range. This is just a tick on the confluence sheet for us. We have then closed within the range, which gives me that CRT or whatever, however you want to view that. There's just people view it differently, but I just view it as candle closing back below a high or low is confluence for me based on my higher time frame, and then having a FEG or something to show why it's going there. So we've got this 1-hour FEG. We've also got this there is an FEG here, so small I wouldn't even bother looking at it. But as you can see, actually, it does indeed respect this exact FEG multiple times. But yeah, so we had this close below the range, which this is how I would label it, okay? This is what I did do, in fact. We did close below the previous 4-hour. I don't have it saved. Below the 4-hour. Previous 4, so it'd be like that, equals bearish, okay? When we're on this candle here, going into the 10 a.m. New York session time, we're looking in this candle to get an entry, okay? So if we just leave this on here, we're now going into the 10 a.m. Okay, let's look to see if we can find entry anywhere, okay? We can take this off the chart now. And let's look at price, okay? So you see 9 a.m., where are we? We open at 9 a.m. here. Okay, price goes up, creates that high that we want to see on the 4-hour chart. Then price comes back down at 9:55, which creates that nice big wick that we wanted to see. 10 a.m. we open. Now, what does price do? This is the first candle of the 10 a.m., the first 5-minute candle at 10 a.m. Price runs straight back into this 5-minute fair value gap. Now, most of the time when I trade, I will wait for a market structure shift, and I'll enter the trade based on market structure shift with displacement, okay? So we did indeed have a lot of displacement here, this big push down. We also had a big push up, but based on the 1-hour, the 4-hour, and the daily and the weekly all being in sync with each other, there was no reason for me to really, you can't have it perfect. You're not going to get a perfect entry with all the perfect higher time frame bias in sync. So for me, I use logic. I have market experience over years of trading this style. I was expecting price to then respect the first FVG created and tagged into on this on the second hour of the 4-hour candle, which it did. Okay, and you can see my entry was literally pinpoint. I can show that entry here. Okay, look, this is my entry tagged in literally just below. It was a market took it off market order. So I expected price to tag there on my broker. It didn't. I took it off of TradingView tagging in. It's fine. It is what it is. Now we're already running at 2R, but I'm letting this trade run on this account based on the fact that I'm going for that weekly draw. Now I may close it down here or take, like I said, take some partials, but the trade has hit my normal 2R target. Pretty much soon after it did tag me in on the 5 minute, you can see if we go back up to the 1 hour chart, price absolutely obliterates to the downside. Now, why does it do it the way it's done it? Okay, you have the 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., and then the 12, which is the final hour of the 4-hour candle, which you'll see here. If you look at the time, 17 minutes left. Okay, so this is our 4-hour section, which I'm super, super adamant. I always talk about it. Obviously, it says up to there, but this is the final candle. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 hours of price action. Again, like I said, 16 minutes left. Price creates the high, which is the power of 3, open high. I'm just expecting to ride the trade down into the distribution phase of the leg, which is what I got, and then price to close out and do whatever it wants to do. I don't mind whether it wants to come back up on me. There'll be partials taken anyway, so it's not a big deal. But the price should continue lower based on the higher time frames. Now, as I said earlier, if you look over here in London, there could have been a potential trade here. Okay, so if we look at the 3 a.m., which is again perfect timing, because we always trade the second hour of the 4-hour candle within a session. Okay, and that's a little golden nugget for anyone who wants to go back and back test that. Something that I'm really, really strongly talk about in my trading course and things that I do promote from my own style of trading. I'm very big on trading the second hour of the 4-hour candle. Okay, so it's a good little trading nugget. If anyone wants to go back and back test it, please feel free to do so, and then send me any back testing that you do get off of it, because it's really quite overpowered, and you'll see that when you do it. Okay, so 3 a.m. starts here. Now, if you just look at price action around 3 a.m. in London, which is now here, there's not really anything we can really enter here. Okay, we have tagged into this FVG, but I wouldn't feel too confident when we tagged in here, which we would have took entry at 5 minutes past, that I was actually going to get anything. Okay, so for me, I really wouldn't have took an entry here based on there's no real distribution. Okay, again, we haven't had a market structure shift anyways, so for me, there was no entry. I wasn't on the charts, so it didn't really matter, but there was nothing there for me. So although you have the 4-hour candle printing price out the way we wanted to see it at that specific time of day, which is here, you see the previous 4-hour high is taken out and price continues down towards the drawn liquidity, which is what it's doing now again. There's no entry, but based on what I've just shown you, that's the trade setup that I'm in. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to probably close, once I finish this video, close out some partial profits, just because we're going to have a new 4-hour starting in 5 minutes, and I'm expecting probably price to come back up a little bit. Again, there's no real reason on the 4-hour to go higher now at this point. This is more of a breakaway gap. I don't really see price coming back up to this level, unless it does so from now on and into Friday, and then basing giving us just a really nice entry for next week. But hopefully not. Hopefully we just continue lower, take this level out. Once we take this level out, I'll be pretty happy with my profits either way, whatever happens, as the trade is an A+ setup. Okay, and again, showing on the daily why that is. As I explained, we have had Monday create the high, well, Monday and Tuesday create the high, Wednesday and Thursday distribute lower. Friday, I'm probably expecting, again, the back end of Thursday even, and all day Friday to probably reverse up and close the weekly candle with some sort of wick, okay? So you may see price not actually fulfill its weekly target, which I would have had down here. But yeah, the price action on the actual trade entry that I've taken on this pair is perfect for how I trade. I can actually come onto Discord and show you my trade, which is here. If I open this in full, okay, we can see that, as I've explained here, there's quite a lot of writing. I'm not going to go through it all. It's pretty much what I've just told you. Weekly bias and daily bias, okay? This is live as the trade was running earlier, not too long ago before I started recording the video. But yeah, here, like I said, look, and I'll read through it. We have, look at the day of the week. We are now on Thursday. If we have a look at the weekly above, we can see that we are indeed in the distribution part of the weekly candle, which is exactly what I've just explained, but just going through the journal to show people how I journal and what I do, and that the trades are taken live at the end of the day. This is what matters: taking trades live, making profit, getting in and out, and actually honing in on the craft and making sure that you're actually journaling when you do well, when you do bad, and so you can come back to the videos. So we can see it's in the power of 3, right? Which is true. Open on a Monday, we go higher, create that high, that weekly high, the wick as seen on the weekly. Now this is not exactly perfectly right, as I was noting it down as the trade's playing out. We do see Tuesday create the high, which is fine. It's still in the bias with our weekly formation of the power of 3, or weekly formation, whatever you want to say. I always base everything based on the power of 3, and I'm expecting the high between Monday and Tuesday to be put in if I'm bearish, which is exactly what's happened. Then you see the daily FEG is formed between Monday's high and Thursday's low. Friday has the gap. We call this the FEG perfect. Weekly power of 3, expecting the open high to form Monday, Tuesday, which is sort of coming back to what I just said, which we can see, but spelled wrong, is the case looking at the daily chart. Monday is bullish, Tuesday tags into the daily FEG and closes below the low. Another tick for an A+ setup. Again, showing it. We take out Monday's high, close back within the range, instigating Wednesday, Thursday, we should have an A+ high time frame setup form. Now, it don't mean you're going to get the setup. As you've seen on Wednesday, there was no entry for me. And even the London session, there was no entry. But today, we've just been patient, waited for the perfect setup to come, and it has. So from Wednesday on, we have potential higher time frame A+ setup to form for us. Why? Because we have the weekly, daily in sync, and we are moving from a higher time frame weekly FEG. Daily is in sync because we open high situation on Monday, then Tuesday starts to reverse and go towards the drawn liquidity, leaving us with a solid bias for our short position. This takes us to right now, and then obviously I'll show the trade as I've just done and shown you above, okay? Shown you on TradingView itself. So yeah, and as you can see, price is pretty much about to take this level, okay? And from this level, I would definitely be closing out some sort of profit. The trade will be perfect. It'll be over 2R, which is what I target anyway, just over 2R. So I'll probably close maybe 80% of the position just based on the fact that we're already on Thursday evening in the UK. As you can see, about to go into the New York PM session. And yeah, obviously, as I've said, everything's based on this weekly chart anyways, and I don't expect price to really do significant push tomorrow. It may do something to the downside, but ultimately tomorrow I'm going to be expecting it to have some sort of pullback, to have an open, high, low, and then some sort of close. So yeah, pretty perfect trade. As I said, I can close now for full take profit anyways. Once that liquidity target's done, I'm going to take some sort of partials on my phase 1 account. On my other account, which is a funded, I'm most likely going to close out the 2R because it's in drawdown anyways. So yeah, pretty really standard trade, but super perfect, super clean, and showing why I trade the way I do, based off the higher time frames, using the 4-hour as my gauge, and it gives me more specific times. As I said, I only trade based on the 2-hour in between the 4-hour candle. Okay, so we have, as I've shown here, we have this 4-hour candle which started at 9 a.m. New York time, which is 2 p.m. UK time. I'm only looking to trade at 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. UK time. If I can't get a trade in that 2-hour period, I don't trade. Same with based on the London session, 7 a.m. I come on. If there's nothing there between 7 and 8, I don't trade. Okay, so the last hour and the first hour of the 4-hour cycle, I do not trade them. If I'm in a trade, it's different, but I won't voluntarily trade that to get an entry, as like I said, I'm based on the power of 3. I believe most, if not all, candles have, as you can see, have some sort of wick either side and then a distribution part. Obviously, this sort of candle isn't really true to that, but if you go back and just look over, you can see that open, high, takes out liquidity, big distribution, okay? And it happens over and over again. Open, high, close back in, distributes lower on the next 2 4-hour candles, which could have been an entry for somebody based on something else. Like I said, I did trade this candle here, and I did trade this and this. I believe I was in the trade, yeah, from here. So when price came back during the night during Asia, it came back up, took me out on my aggressive. I don't even think I got stopped at break even. No, no, I did get stopped to break even, yeah, because I was in the trade about here, which was about 3. I'll just drop down and even show it. Yeah, here we go. Here's the trade. So I got stopped out pretty much in the New York PM session, okay? So yeah, and then obviously, as you would have seen, I would have got full TP, full stop loss if I didn't tag my entry at break even before obviously going to sleep in England, and then New York Asia session playing out. But yeah, based on this trade today, a really, really clean setup, and I'm very, very happy with it. As you can see, the price is literally about to finish the 4 hour. I'm not quite sure we'll actually make it down here. You'll probably see the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes of the next 4 hour candle absolutely rip to the downside, take out the liquidity, and then I'm not really too fussed about what it does after that. I'm probably going to close out 80% of the position and just let the rest run. See if we can ultimately target these weekly areas. But as I said, 20% running into tomorrow is not a big deal. I would never hold position over the weekend, and I won't be holding anything over the weekend, in fact. So the 20%, we'll see how tomorrow plays out. It may create a little bit more low. Based on how I'm feeling at the end of today's trading session, I will determine whether or not what I close out. But I will update that in my journal anyways. Yeah, so really happy with today's trading, proper A plus setup, and yeah,